I gave people all the stuff they really needed. Social Security checks, utility bills, TV guide.
I want a TV guidance counselor. TV guidance counselor. Staying up to watch all night, and everything's gonna be alright with my TV guidance counselor.
Hello, welcome to TV Guidance Counselor. I am Ken Reed, your TV Guidance Counselor, the man who's here each and every week since Valentine's Day 2014 to discuss classic television and whatever the hell else we feel like with an interesting guest. I am a Boston-based comedian. Hopefully you've seen me out and about. I talk to a lot of comedians. It's the nature of the beast. I know a lot of comics. It's, you start doing comedy, you know a lot of comics. And we use an issue of TV Guide magazine from my personal collection as the gateway into our conversation. And this week is no exception to that. My guest this week is the very funny comedian Andie Main. Andie has a comedy album out. It's been out about 6 months called Rocky Mountain Bye. It's very funny. I really enjoy her comedy. It's weird and fun and silly, and we had a weird, fun, silly conversation here. And I think you'll love her album, so definitely buy it. Rocky Mountain Bye, stream it, however you listen to comedy albums. I put links in the show description and on all the social media. Speaking of which, I am at Kenneth W. Reed or at TV Guidance on all the social media if you don't follow me. Also have a YouTube page, doing a lot more stuff on there, so you can subscribe to that YouTube page, get us up over 1,000 subscribers. They won't monetize my page, but it'd be nice to have over 1,000. That would just make me feel like I've accomplished something. Or if you want to be a patron of the show, you can do so. A TV Guidance Counselor is on Patreon. If you Google Patreon and TV Guidance Counselor or patreon.com/TV Guidance Counselor. If you were nice enough to give me $5 this month on Patreon, right now, sitting on the Patreon page is a PDF of this very issue of TV Guide, so you could follow along with Andie and I as we discuss our choices for the week. So that's $5 and up patrons. But even $1 a month, huge help for me doing the show. It's just me, everybody. And I appreciate everyone who gives, and I appreciate people who don't give. Just you listening is nice. And hey, tell a friend or review the show. That helps keep it in the public eye. I would appreciate that. But if you don't have time, that's fine too. Also, I love hearing from you guys. It really does mean the world to me. So many of you email me, and I love it when I see it. I love hearing how you're doing, where you heard of the show, what you're listening to, your thoughts, guest requests, all that. So please email me at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com or ken@icanread.com. I truly do love hearing from you guys. Anyway, on to the show. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of TV Guidance Counselor with my guest, Andie Main.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
Live via satellite from Denver, Colorado, although only for a short time. Limited time engagement. Andie Main, how are you?
Cheers, mate. I'm awesome.
So you're doing a reverse America where you're moving from west to east.
Yeah, I'm disappointing all of my ancestors who fought so hard to get to Oregon.
you're undoing the Oregon Trail?
Yeah, in just mere hours instead of years.
So you're giving people dysentery instead of getting it yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm a giver.
Because you lived in Portland, Oregon, and then you moved to Denver a few years ago. But did you grow up in Portland?
I did grow up in Portland. I'm like the only person that did. And now Portland doesn't have any of us left.
You've all been forced out. Yeah, I did Bridgetown a few times. And yeah, all the comics there, like I never ran into a single one who was like, yeah, no, I grew up here.
Yeah, it was just me and my sisters. And now we're all gone.
They were like, we finally got rid of them. Now the house prices can shoot up through the roof.
Now that the Mains are gone.
Well, we all know the street named after your family.
Yeah, it's in every country, every city.
Yes. We're very proliferated in all cities.
My friend Dave Hill found a street sign. Yeah, he found a street sign that was Hill in Maine, and I was like, that's amazing.
Dave, actually, when Dave did this show, we recorded it in Portland.
Oh, wild.
Yeah.
Love it.
Which is very fun.
Did you guys talk about me?
It was mostly about you. Yeah, the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, the majority of it.
That's
Yeah.
excellent.
But we were just talking a little bit earlier. Like you're in Denver, but you're making your way to New York. But I love Denver. I used to do the Denver Comic Con every year, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, you do forget that it is a mile up, and it is difficult to breathe.
Yeah. Like, the cover of my album, Rocky Mountain By, is me with my dog in a beautiful mountain, pastoral setting. And, I didn't realize how my type of oxygen or altitude sickness works. It correlates with motion sickness.
Oh, wonderful.
'Cause like I can drive myself to a top of a mountain, that's fine. That was shot on top of Mount Bierstadt, and I go to Mount Bierstadt by myself just fine. But I was driving there with my photographer, and since he was driving and I was riding, I didn't realize that I was getting like oxygen sickness, and so that whole shoot I was super nauseous. I pushed through it because I'm a champion and a rugged outdoors woman, but I was wearing a black cocktail dress on a mountain, and that looked so stupid.
No,
People thought I was an idiot.
It's a nice contrast. No, they're like, you doing a photo shoot.
It looked so desperate. It looks like, I mean, I might as well have been wearing like a prom dress as a middle-aged woman. It just was like, please pay attention to me.
It's all about context. If you were dressed like that and you are standing outside like a high school gym, yes, that would look pathetic. But top of a mountain, no, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt very silly. Like when my photographer was not with me and he was doing something else and it'd just be me and my dog wandering around, it was just very silly.
What else would he be doing at the top of a mountain? Be like, oh, I got to go do some laundry? Put money in the meter?
He lost his sunglasses at one point.
That sounds like a likely story. If I ever heard an excuse, that sounds like...
I overheard someone go, I should do that with my dog. Like, I just wanted to get glamour shots with my dog.
Did the dog get altitude sickness?
Nah, she's a champion warrior.
Okay.
She's made of wolves. She's fine.
So, but I mean, this should make you feel better about that whole experience. The TV guide you picked, the cover is Barbara Walters in a cocktail dress with 4 Ninja Turtles. So,
yeah.
I mean, you're already doing better than that.
Yeah. And let's not, the back cover, which is the picture I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
Salem Menthol Cigarettes, the refreshest. God, I sure could use a cigarette right now.
It's a guy in a bathing suit with a cooler, and he's standing on an iceberg, but the iceberg's next to a tropical island, and there's a toucan on the iceberg as well.
Mm-hmm. A toucan, as you said.
Yes.
Not a toucan.
And they go...
A toucan.
A toucan. And they go, the refreshest.
Yeah.
That's how you can tell this is 91, because it's like the freshest, the refreshest.
That's how you can tell it was 91, is because there was still icebergs.
They've all melted now. They all moved down to the islands and melted.
Yeah.
Were you a smoker ever?
Yeah, I've been sober from smoking for like a little over 100 days.
Not that long then, but that is difficult. How long did you smoke?
Oh God. Since I was 15, 25 years, really bad.
Ooh.
And
what was your brand?
Camel Lights, but now they call them Camel Blues. I always get to like a 60-day period and then something happens and I get mad and I have to smoke again. But this time I got to like 60 days and I had a car accident and I got fucked over by my insurance, and that was like the most exasperating thing I've ever been through, and I did not smoke a cigarette. And after I got over that, the morning after I got in a fight with my insurance and I realized I hadn't smoked a cigarette, that was when I stopped craving them.
I thought you were going to say you were going to be healthy to spite them.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm healthy to spite my mom. No.
We all are.
Yeah.
Why did it, I get why they went away from the term lights, but where does blue come from?
I don't don't know. Maybe because you got the blues because you're dying of emphysema.
That could be it.
There was blue accent on the packaging.
Oh, nice. But I wonder, it's a chicken and the egg scenario. Which came first there?
Yeah.
Salem's the menthol, soon to be outlawed menthol cigarettes.
Yeah, I don't think Salem is a brand anymore either.
Every single TV guide I look at, which is a lot, not a surprise, there's at least 6 cigarette ads, and I would say 90% of them, I never see the same brand twice.
Oh,
There's
funny.
like 1,000 brands, and I imagine they're all owned by one company, and it's just like, whatever, it's just the same cigarettes. But yeah, all kinds of strange brands. Salem, I do remember because my uncle used to smoke them, and then he switched to American Spirits.
Oh, God. American Spirits... I never enjoyed those. It's so funny. But I don't know. We didn't come here to talk cigarettes.
No, it's a cigarette podcast would be very boring.
Oh my God.
I've never smoked.
Do you want to hear a cigarette podcast? Here's how it would sound.
It'd just be people taking breaks every 5 minutes.
Hold on a second. Yeah. Oh, God.
I just need a second. But you'll be moving to New York where, I don't know, I'm just going to assume people are still smoking cloves.
Yeah, they're all smoking. I'm going to be in major danger of relapsing out in New York. I'm going to have to use all of my sober skills because I quit drinking about 2.5 years ago. But even out of all the substances I've quit, which there's like 4 of them, cigarettes was the hardest. Cigarettes was truly the hardest. Like there's like a spike in the molecule of nicotine or the atom. I don't know what the thing is, but like there's a spike in it that gets in your guts and it won't let go and it just like tears. It's like losing a skin to quit smoking. It's like you have to grow new skin. I don't know how to describe this anymore.
While Andie's describing this, I noticed that she has like an empty skin behind her of herself that's just completely flaccid, like a snake that has shed its skin that you just shed at some point.
Yeah, well...
I was going to ask about it, but...
There's been so much personal growth. I don't even know what to do with all these skins I shed. I'm overwhelmed.
Well, you know, some people go through midlife crises and some people molt like a crab.
That's what I'm doing. I'm molting.
Yes. So I imagine you picked this issue because you're either a Barbara Walters fan or a Ninja Turtles fan.
Oh, yeah. It was all because of the Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
Yeah, this is from the 90s. It's like from 1991. And that's when I was 11 years old. So this is I just saw the Simpsons and the Ninja Turtles on the cover and I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Like,
so we're the same age because this is exact that like 88 to 92 is my sweet spot as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like 8 to 12. That's like the TV.
Yeah.
Golden,
that's when our parents left us to our own devices.
Mine was for 8 years before that as well. And then another 30 something years after. But this is when we had the most things to watch. But this is a really interesting time. So the Simpsons that started the year before, so 1990, although technically 89 with the Christmas special, and was kind of an unforeseen hit. So all of the other networks scrambled to have their own Simpsons, and it took them like a year because it's not, you know, you can't just throw animated shows on the air quickly.
Yeah, this isn't South Park.
You can't just film those in a day and have them on the next day. So they were all trying to get their own Simpsons, and it is hilarious to see what networks that weren't Fox thought would be their Simpsons. So CBS came out with Fish Police, which I enjoyed. Which is actually a cool cartoon, but it's like a dark adult noir.
Yeah, and it's just like 2 nouns put together. It's like a band name.
It's a little bit Mad Libs. It certainly is to be like, oh, dog fireman? That'll work.
How about Squid Nurse?
I would watch Squid Nurse, to be honest with you. And that would make a lot of sense with all the arms. And then ABC had Capital Critters, which Bobcat Goldthwait was on, and Neil Patrick Harris. But this was about mice that lived in the White House.
That's kind of cute. That's like a good old-fashioned children's story.
Yeah, but it was like not it only lasted about 4 episodes. And then CBS had Family Dog, which was a Tim Burton show.
I loved Family Dog.
It was funny because it started as an episode of Amazing Stories in 1986.
Yeah.
And it took them 6 years to get it on the air.
That's weird. I remember Family Dog. I thought for a second that Simpsons and Family Dog were premiered together, but I was wrong.
You weren't far off, though. Like, it had a similar aesthetic, and it had,
Yeah.
like, kind of a same vibe. Because then later this year is when Nickelodeon put out all the Nicktoons, which also were kind of in that same
and that's
realm.
the same art style as Family Dog.
Yeah, this is when people were okay with cartoons looking ugly on purpose. Which they were like, oh, okay, this is fine. And cartoons could look different. Like, when we were growing up on Saturday morning, like the Ruby Spears and Hanna-Barbera all kind of looked the same.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, they all had, like, affectations, like, with the hands being drawn the same.
Things can have their own style. Like, what an innovation.
Wow, it's just like Impressionism all over again.
It truly is. And then, oh, here's a cigarette I never heard of. Carlton?
Oh, wait, are we on the next page?
Oh, yeah, I was flipping through after the Paul Simon thing, and there's an ad for Carlton, and it's a cigarette, and it's on a rock with a daisy, and it says, he loves me not, but one thing is for sure, Carlton is the lowest. That makes those statements have no connection whatsoever.
I'm not there. What page are we on?
This is on page 9 of the PDF. It's on the
Okay.
same page as the
You
Josephine
scrolled
Baker.
down. Okay, because we
Yeah.
missed the Benson and Hedges ad. And
Oh, did I see? Where's the Benson and Hedges one?
it's like page
yes.
4. And that was my first ever cigarette. Isn't that
How
weird?
classy, though.
I
It's a
know.
nice English classy cigarette.
Well, my mom was a classy lady who I stole cigarettes from.
This is for the new Sterling Premium Light 100
Yeah.
Benson and Hedges.
Okay, so we got Paul Simon. He's still rocking to his own rhythms. That's good. Did you know that he was married to Carrie Fisher?
I did.
Yeah, of course you would. You seem like you know every single thing that's ever happened in pop culture.
I only knew that because of the SNL connection, and I was like a huge SNL nerd. Like, I always would joke that was like my baseball until about the year 2000.
Oh, that's adorable.
I could tell you who wrote that sketch for this. And so I knew that when Carrie Fisher hosted SNL, it was because she was dating Paul Simon and he was good friends with Lorne Michaels. And that's how I got
Oh,
into it.
okay. Because
so I'd heard
I
that story.
listened to her memoir, Wishful Drinking.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to turn it off because her narration was terrible. She was wasted. She was completely shithoused when she was reading this book, and she had like the voice of someone who'd smoked a lot of Benson and Hedges, and it was all like, let me tell you about Paul Simon, and she's just like fucking throwing everyone under the bus. And at first I was like, why is this a gay icon? And then I was like, oh, that's exactly why.
It was that Judy Garland kind of vibe going on.
Yeah.
That they end up with. Yeah. That particular book is a little bit too method.
Yeah, it was absurd. I listen to audiobooks when I'm driving. I don't read, but I'm well read.
Yeah. Do you consider that reading? People feel like that's cheating, and I'll be like, because sometimes I'll be like, I just read a book, but I listened to it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say I listened to it, but it's the same thing.
If you retain the information, that's what matters. If you learn something from what you're reading and you experience it. Like, I did the coolest thing on my little trip to Moab, because I had to drive over the Rocky Mountains, and I was like, I don't ever want to climb a mountain. But I think that stories about mountain climbing are fascinating. And I listened to a John Krakauer book while I was driving over the Rockies, and he's telling a story about being like stranded on top of El Capitan while weather's running in, and I'm like driving through Aspen at the same time, like looking at gigantic mountains. And it was just a really cool visceral experience. Like, I'll never, because it's like you're engaging your listening senses, and then my visual senses are like looking at it, like what he's talking about in a sense, like right there. It was just a really cool, like, multi-sensory experience.
Well, like one enhances the other. Like they keep feeding on each other. Yeah. And those roads into Aspen, because I went to the Aspen Festival in 05 or 06, and I drove from Denver. And those roads are terrifying. It's like one lane on the side of a 2 mile up mountain that you feel like you're going to fall off at
there's
any point.
one on the pass that I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah,
So
people
bad.
were like speeding past me in a snow. It was horrible. Here's a weird thing that I believe about audiobooks. If it's fiction, I feel like listening to an audiobook is cheating and not reading, but nonfiction doesn't bother me. And I have no explanation for why that is.
I don't know. That's funny. I like it. I mean, arbitrarily, I agree with it, but there's no point to it.
No, there's no logic to it, but it makes sense somehow in a weird way. It makes more sense than Carlton is the lowest, I'll tell you that.
Who's Carlton?
That is the cigarette.
The cigarette. I was like, are we doing the Fresh Prince? That
No,
didn't come out
not
till
Fresh
92.
Prince. Yeah, but I get that
Carlton
they're
is
saying
the lowest.
it's the lowest in tar, but like that doesn't correlate to the he loves me not.
Yeah,
It doesn't even rhyme.
I'm unpacking this right now. He loves me not. But one thing is sure, Carlton is lowest.
Like that should rhyme at least, right?
I guess it's like, I'm taking this as, I think my boyfriend is cheating on me. I'm going to smoke some shitty cigarettes.
How can I get lower than that,
Yeah.
Carlton?
How about we hit a real rock bottom, Carlton?
It is literally a photograph of the cigarettes on a bunch of rocks.
Yeah.
So it is rock bottom.
Wow. The subconscious of these ad writers is showing.
Like this ad should just be like, don't give a fuck anymore. Smoke these.
This is Freudian. Yeah.
How much do you hate yourself, Carlton? On the same page, there's a big article about the Josephine Baker story, which I believe was on ABC that week. It was a miniseries. And I remember watching it at the time, and the woman playing Josephine Baker was an actress named Lynn Whitfield, who was amazing. And everyone was like, she's so good in this. She's going to be a huge star. And I don't think I've seen her in anything else after this.
Well, just like the person she was playing.
That's true.
The whole story, I skimmed it while you were talking. And the whole story is about a jazz performer who never took off. And then this artist played an artist who never took off, and she never took off. And now I'm an artist who's never going to take off ever, talking about other artists who never took off.
Well, that's all of us. We're all in that boat, and I'm right there with you. So we're in good company.
It's a sinking ship at best.
It's true. It's true. Although people in planes who are soaring high are falling out of them. So,
yeah,
maybe we're not doing that bad. And then I want to mention The Grapevine, which I don't normally bring up on the show because it's usually pretty boring. But since I love Robert Mitchum so much, there's an interesting little piece in here about Robert Mitchum being amused that Cinemax was doing a film series called Crazy About the Movies, Robert Mitchum, the Reluctant Star.
Who's Robert Mitchum?
Oh, you don't know Robert Mitchum? He was in, do you ever see Scrooged?
Yeah.
He's like the head of the network that wants to have television for cats.
Oh. Okay.
That's probably the most recent thing you might have seen him in. I mean, he was in Friends of Eddie Coyle. He's in, oh my God, what's the movie where he's the priest and he has love and hate on his knuckles?
Oh. That sounds like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
It was, yeah, that influenced that quite a bit. He's an amazing actor, but he's just like a fascinating guy. He put out a record of calypso music in the 50s. He was on a chain gang that he escaped from. Yeah, fascinating guy. There's a guy who's on a band. Yeah. But he's very humble apparently. And then before we get to the listings here, it has their video cassette report, which is always interesting, but it's a huge...
Is this the top rentals with my man Christian Slater?
Yes. Pump Up the Volume, which is a movie I absolutely love.
Oh God, Teen Rebellion.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
God,
Samantha
he was
Mathis.
so hot. Oh, that little...
This was before he went full Nicholson.
Yeah. Oh my God. He was still you can tell he was a little twerp, which made me like more infatuated with him because it made him approachable. Cause you're like, oh yeah, he's a nerd under that,
Oh, of course.
He's attainable. Yeah.
I love in this review, because for people who've seen Pump Up the Volume, which if you haven't, you should stop this podcast right now and go watch it.
You should just stop this podcast.
Just stop. That to me in general, overall, not just this episode. But he's a pirate radio DJ, and his radio DJ name is Hard Happy Hard On, or Hard Harry Hard On.
Yeah.
Because he goes to like a Hubert Humphrey high school, and so it's like a play on that. But in this review, they call him Hard Harry. I'm like, that's not correct. That is not correct.
Well, I'm hard right now.
Aren't we all? His hair is looking pretty hard in this picture.
His hair looks like he has like grown, instead of losing a hairline, he has like a proceeding hairline. They really...
I've never heard anyone with a proceeding hairline, but
he's got
that,
like a
if I were to,
boy.
that would look like it.
Yeah,
that looks out of control.
And
that
then
looks out of control.
The Marlboro Man is staring steamily at him too on that next page.
That is funny. So in this photo, Christian Slater's on the phone, and then on the opposite page is the Marlboro Man looking like right in his eyes, and it looks like
it's pretty horny.
Like, it kind of is, to be honest with you. Yeah.
I want to smoke cigarettes and play 90s pop punk.
Yes, I think it makes sense. We'll crank the Descendents and stare longingly into a cowboy's eyes.
We'll play Anarchy Burger! Hold the government! That's the Vandals! Okay, God,
yes,
I was like,
Vandals.
what the fuck reference am I doing? Okay, sorry.
It was correct. My old band played with the Vandals once. In Boston,
was it at a mall?
It was not at a mall, sadly. I would have loved to have played at a mall, Tiffany style. That would have been very appropriate. The Vandals, who had a record called Live Fast Diarrhea.
Good for them. Oh my God.
That is a ballsy album title.
Live Fast Diarrhea.
That's the kind of thing where you joke about naming your album that, but then you don't really do it.
But they did it. I love them.
They did it. They did it.
I love them so much now. Oh my God.
They did it, so we don't have to.
They got me. I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night laughing about that.
I think that was their intention.
Fast diarrhea.
I wouldn't even know how to spell it.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out when you have letters with a bunch of vowels and I'm just the right order.
Yeah, I will say spell check has allowed me to use the word diarrhea more often than I ever would have otherwise.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I had a spell check victory recently. It changed a word. It changed duck to fuck. I'm not kidding.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think that says more about you than about spell check.
Just how much I say fuck? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it auto-corrected duck to fuck, though. I used to have to fight with it. I'd have to write fuck over and over again and it turned to duck, and now I won. I won!
Here's what I'm curious about. What were you writing about a duck for?
I don't even know, man. I don't even know
that
if this
would be
is
weird.
Real. It felt like it happened, but now that I say it out loud, I don't know. What did it? Who knows? All I know is...
I was just texting my friend, I just saw this cool duck.
I know. I was like, they were about to walk into a tree and I just yelled, duck! But it came out fuck.
I texted my neighbor, I was like, is this your duck? You're gonna come get it.
Come get your duck.
Freaking ducks over here again. So let's dive in. Saturday night here, was there anything that jumped out at you that you would watch?
Let's go. I'm still laughing about Live Fast Diarrhea.
And you will be for quite a while. You got a long drive to New York, so that'll do it.
Yeah. Okay, where am I going to? Let's see.
Saturday night?
Saturday night. Okay, I gotta get through the movies. Oh, there's Saturday. Okay. What do we got? Killer Tomatoes! Oh my
yes.
God! Yes! Fuck yeah, we're watching Killer Tomatoes. House Republican Retreat. That's on CSP. It's for 2 hours. I would do some heroin and watch that, I tell you what.
What would they even
what are
do?
They get up to? What's Strom Thurmond doing? Can a Supreme Court justice hang out with Jesse Helms? Who knows?
Playing softball, kickball, doing a little badminton.
They're just like, how can we make AIDS even more gay?
And then Newt Gingrich refused to call it a shuttlecock.
George Bush Jr. was just like walking around with his shit in his pants. And they're like, hey, you're 14.
And how would you describe his lifestyle in that scenario?
I don't know what you're setting me up for, buddy, but I'm going to...
What does he have in his pants?
Oh, he's shitting in his pants because he's a
So
kid.
he's living
in the...
Fast Diarrhea.
Oh my god. Now my face is red. That was I love them so much. Willfred Brimley. That's poetry.
It really is. That's a pretty good night.
Can they hand out Nobel Prizes for punk album titles that have come out 20 years ago?
I don't see why not.
Okay.
There's no law against it. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is a fun movie, but there is a show on, because we're in March, so they have mid-season replacement shows on.
Oh my god, I remember
always
TV
exciting.
seasons. Do they do TV seasons anymore?
No, because time doesn't matter anymore, and they don't even care. But this one, Fox is unveiling a pretty interesting mid-season show, and this is 91, so the real world just started. So sort of reality TV is just kicking off, and this is one nobody remembers, but it's called Yearbook. And it's literally a reality TV show where they just follow these kids around in a high school for an entire year.
Oh, how dreadful.
Oh, I can't even imagine. But this one, they would film it and like pretty much air it 2 weeks later. So this particular episode is the impact of the Persian Gulf situation through mid-February is reflected in Todd Mira, a Marine reservist who will head to boot camp after graduation.
Oh,
that
man.
sounds fun.
I got so excited when you said Marine reservist because I literally thought he was going to conserve oceans.
That's why he was upset about the Persian Gulf War.
Yeah, I'm like, there's a lot of oil spills happening in the Persian Gulf. I'm so dumb. I mean, I'm still laughing about diarrhea. And then I'm like, oh, a marine preservist. Sure.
No, it's fine. But that show, I would think it'd be pretty funny to just go back and watch a reality show of a bunch of dorks in high school in 1991.
Well, like, we're 11, so we'd be like, wow, those guys are so cool.
So sophisticated and
whoa,
adult.
he almost has a mustache.
It's true. But not on his lip.
I could really use a Benson and Hedge right now.
We had a smoking section at my high school, like outside.
Yeah, we did too. We called it the Hill.
This was like school sanctioned. Like there were ashtrays and stuff.
Yeah, well, they're like, these kids are going to fucking smoke anyway, so...
I spent most of my senior year in the teacher's lounge, just hanging out. Long story.
Were you just reading, like, I imagine you getting, microfilm and just reading microfilm.
I did read a lot of microfilm, but that was at the library. But in the teacher's lounge, I literally would read the paper from cover to cover. But I would say 95% of the teachers just sat in there and chain smoked.
That's awesome. Good for them.
Between classes, they're like...
I had a drunk theater teacher, and he just like, he had hidden bottles in the prop area, and he'd be like, oh, these are props, and it's like, no, that's booze, buddy.
And were all your plays, would you try to incorporate them into all the plays just to keep the cover story up?
Yeah, it was just Cat on a Hot Tin Roof over and over again.
And every single play is about giants. Somehow, we're doing Gulliver's Travels again, guys. These are props.
Here's James and the Giant Peach Schnapps. Thank you.
I'd watch that.
Thank you so much.
That was good. That was, yes.
Thank you.
That was very good. Sunday, what are you doing?
Oh my God, we didn't even get through the cartoon lineup, all right?
Yeah, what else you got?
We had to fucking talk about the fact that I had to choose between whether or not I wanted to watch New Kids on the Block versus Saved by the Bell versus Ninja Turtles. Like, why couldn't they line it all up, you know? I got
different networks.
Heathcliff and Marmaduke. I gotta check that out. But oh God, the Republican retreat is happening too. What if
the Republican retreat was just them watching cartoons?
This is when Pee-wee's Playhouse was on at 11.
Yes.
That's amazing. Oh my God. It was Ninja Turtles for an hour. Maybe some Yo MTV raps. I don't know. I couldn't have cable. And my mom was racist. But, God, Bill and Ted's Adventures?
Yeah, that cartoon is great. They do their own voices on it.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm so excited
The New
right
Kids
now.
cartoon, terrible.
Oh, was it? I didn't even like New Kids. I was just screaming because it was fun.
I mean, we had to like them or
Didn't
at least
they, like,
tolerate them.
Well, like in my school, it was like you either liked the Ninja Turtles or you liked New Kids. You couldn't like both.
I would watch that fight. That would be a good fight.
That'd be so sad fucking nerds just being like, I don't have an identity.
Oh, I was talking about actual Ninja Turtles fighting the New Kids on the Block.
Yeah. Well, the New Kids would get their asses beat because Mark Wahlberg wasn't in New Kids, so they didn't.
Donnie
stand
would
a
be
chance.
stepping to Michelangelo and he'd just nunchuck him in the rat tail.
Oh my God. Splinter would just pull on the rat tail and be like, that's mine.
He's like, I got a fucking rat tail too, kid.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, we're fucking turtles and shit.
Yeah, it's Boston versus New York. You know, that's a huge rivalry.
That is true. That's the rivalry. And it's TMNT versus NKOTB.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Ninja Turtles would fucking kick their asses all over the place.
I agree. That would be a fun
That'd
fight.
be a goddamn slaughterhouse.
Danny Wood was kind of jacked. All he did was lift weights and look like a monkey.
Who was Danny Wood?
He was the one in New Kids on the Block that looked like a monkey.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, he's probably not happy.
He kind of is more like Bebop and Rocksteady than he is like the rest of the New
He's
Kids.
gonna switch teams. He's like the one guy in NSYNC that you were like, he's 40.
He's the guy that I am still to this day baffled as to why he was in New Kids, because he couldn't sing, as exemplified by Step by Step when they go step one and he goes, we can
You have lots of fun.
And like, I don't know how many takes that took. He wasn't good looking. He didn't dance. Like,
So he
what the
was
hell is he there for?
Every band needs a Ringo.
But it's not like he drove the van or anything.
Did Ringo drive a van? No.
I don't know. He at least could play drums.
He just played one beat when you needed it.
But that's one beat more than Danny Wood ever played. Where they're like, oh, Danny, we need someone to bench press on stage. Like, that's not going to happen.
Well, I don't know, man. You're not from New Jersey. You don't know what real love looks like. So
That's true. So yeah, that's a tough call. That's a good Saturday morning, though.
that's the best Saturday morning. What kind of cereal are you eating while you're watching this stuff?
Oh, at this point, so one good thing about my dad did all the shopping in the house, and he was every Thursday he'd go shopping, and when he went food shopping, he had a budget, and he had to spend every cent of the budget like he was the friggin' military, and he would go up and down every aisle, and he had no brand loyalty whatsoever.
Oh, I
so
love
he would
it.
buy whatever was on sale. So the good thing was we would every week pretty much get like whatever the hot new sugar cereal was, because that's what would be on sale that week.
Yeah.
So in 91, I'm thinking it was probably that really bad TMNT cereal from Ralston who makes dog food that was basically Rice Chex, but was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Basic 4, and there was also one called Big Mix that I liked at this time, but pretty much always we stuck with Lucky Charms. That was like always in stock.
Yeah, that's the one. That's like the champagne of shitty kids cereals. That's like the
It
one.
truly is.
Yeah, that's the Mercedes-Benz of sugar cereals.
What would you guys do?
Well, like, this depends on if it's my birthday or not, because I made up a rule in our family that when it was a birthday, you gotta fucking get whatever cereal you wanted. And so,
rule.
yeah, like, when special occasions would happen and we weren't eating, I think it was called Best Western or something, where it was like a bag of cereal at the bottom
Best
of the aisle.
Foods. Yeah,
Best
it's the
Foods.
bag. Yeah.
Yeah, we were eating a lot of that. But if I had my choices, I was a Corn Pops or Fruit Loops kind of kid. Or chocolate cereals. Oh my God. Those are good. But did you ever eat Super Mario Brothers cereal?
Oh, the Nintendo cereal system with the two different sides. There's Zelda on one side and yeah. That was great. And before that, they did a Nerds cereal that used the same technology.
Yeah, the same technology. Yeah. I mean, that was when the technology of cereals peaked, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
I concur.
Did you
We
have
had prizes in
Ghostbusters cereal?
I did, which was fine.
They were all
it
not
wasn't
good.
It wasn't the licensed cereals tended to not be great because they knew that they would be short lived and they didn't want to blow a good cereal on that license.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Corn Pops you knew was special because it came in a foil bag inside the box.
In a space bag, and there was always one that tasted really bad.
Oh yeah, it was like an overcooked brown one in there.
Yeah. I want them to make a cereal that's just overcooked brown Corn Pops.
All the bad Corn Pops.
You know, they make like all berries, Captain Crunch.
Oops, all garbage.
Oops, all inedible.
There's a cartoon here that I completely forget existing, but it is the lamest named cartoon, and just from the title alone, you could probably imagine what this cartoon exactly was, and it was called Pigsburg Pigs.
Pigsburg Pigs. I'm guessing it's about pigs
who live in Pigsburg.
Maybe it's cops living in Copland. Who knows?
It could be. My God.
Don't tell the cops I said that.
Well, they're big listeners, all of them. I'll have to cut this out.
Just,
this is the number one podcast among cops.
They're all like still asking their children how do they download a podcast.
Yeah, sometimes I'll see the squad cars driving around and they're just playing this podcast out of the PA system.
Absolutely. The Kid and Play cartoon though, I never got to watch that. I just never got into them. I'm sorry.
There's still time.
I guess. I mean, if there's still time to give a Nobel Prize to the Vandals.
There's still time to catch up on the Kid and Play cartoon.
Yeah. I'm going to write my local congressman and see if they can help me figure out how to watch that. Yeah.
Do you know who is your local congressman?
I don't know, man. I vote. I do vote. I vote in primaries. I vote in local elections, but I don't care anymore. I do my best.
I'm a big secondaries guy.
Oh, okay. Do you vote for the president after the election's over? What is that?
I'll vote after, yeah. When it doesn't matter anymore, I'll vote in the secondary.
You still voted for Donald Trump, though. That's so weird.
But I didn't write that on my ballot. It just showed up like disappearing ink. When I held my ballot over a toaster, the name that was written in lemon juice appeared.
I don't know if you got a ballot. I don't know. I think that's more like a witch's curse than a ballot.
Oh man, this keeps happening to me. Let's go to Sunday. What anything jump out on you on Sunday?
Oh man, just the hangover from how hard I partied on Saturday as an 11-year-old.
There is tons of ice skating on, I should say. Every night there's like a figure skating thing on.
I used to watch a lot of ice skating. I really did. I mean, this was right when Tanya Harding was planning on kneecapping Nancy Kerrigan.
It was like a year before. She was planning it for sure.
This is when Jeff Gillooly, if that was his name, was planning it all out. And I grew up like in Oregon during Tanya Harding era. Like she affected me. Like,
was she from there?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
She grew up in Clackamas, which is like a shitty suburb a few miles from where I grew up, and she'd go and practice at the Clackamas Town Center Mall. And I think I tried to go watch her a couple times, but my mom just never got it together. But I wanted to. But I can't remember if I ever saw her in real life or not. You know how fuzzy memories are.
Of course, yeah.
When she attacked Nancy, and then she had like her big comeback skate. I think it was like in Japan or something. And she played the Jurassic Park song. And she had to stop skating because her shoelaces weren't tied right.
And she was crying and had her foot up on the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, because, okay, I wanted to believe in her and support her, even though I know that she did it. Even when I was a kid, I was like, but she's an Oregon girl, you know? And then
it's loyalty there.
Yeah, there's loyalty, no matter blind patriotic loyalty. And then when she failed to even like have any sort of like composure or dignity in that performance, it reminded me of my dad.
Okay.
I was just like, oh, this is divorce all over again. You know, like I took it as personally as an 11-year-old kid could take it. Like,
He showed up in court and was like, my skate's fine. What's going on here?
Yeah, he's like, I can't pay child support, you know, but here I am. Do you want to go to Arby's and get some ketchup? You know, that was like,
The
I don't
good
know.
stuff.
That's like, I wish I should be talking to a therapist about that because that's like a core memory of like how I perceive the world is that I'm always being let down by people I believe in. Thanks for nothing, Tanya Harding.
I don't know if that says more about Tanya Harding or less about your dad.
I know. It's a real, that's why I got to go to therapy is to figure this one out.
Oh, no, I think you got it. It's fine.
I'll just
It's all
start ice
sorted out.
skating. Yeah.
Have you ever ice skated before?
No.
Oh, God, yeah, I'm terrible. Every time I've tried, it was a disaster.
Yeah, I tried once, like, and by that I mean for like maybe 5 feet, and my ankles buckled right away, and I was like, fuck this, dude.
Yeah, well, when you go to New York, go to Rockefeller Center and be that person with the milk crates.
What?
You see the people that have like 3 milk crates stacked on each other while they're like using it like a walker to skate when they're learning.
What a fucking douche. No. No,
Oh, come on.
You lost me when you said go to Rockefeller Center.
Well, that's where the ice skating rink is.
Yeah. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to
I couldn't
avoid
imagine.
42nd in general. I'm not going to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no real reason to ever leave Brooklyn
Yeah.
once you're there. Mostly because the parking is bad. And, if you get a spot, you want to keep it.
Yeah. Whew. Excuse me. I got so
quite all
excited thinking about Nancy Kerrigan. That poor lady. How's she doing, My goodness.
I don't know. Well, she had a sex tape that came out.
She did?
Oh, yeah. That was a whole thing.
When was that?
That was probably like the late 90s.
Oh, I didn't know
That was
about
the last
that.
thing. That was the last thing I remember.
I bet her mother is mortified.
Well, yeah, her mother might be the one who leaked it.
That sounds like a real proto-Kardashian move.
Yeah, and then when it worked for the Kardashians, her mother was like, "God damn it!
Yeah, I invented this grift."
It was too long." On Sunday night, there's a made-for-TV movie on with Dick Van Dyke in it, and it's called Daughters of Privilege. And I can't tell if it's a comedy, but it says they'll do anything to get daddy's attention, daddy's power, and daddy's money.
Oh,
And it's
no.
Dick Van Dyke and then these like 3 super bitchy looking women who are all just look super stuck up. It also doesn't say if this is a comedy.
Huh.
And I don't recognize any of the other actors in this thing except for Dick Van Dyke.
Oh my God, but guess what? I just passed by an ad that said the World Figure Skating Championships ladies final drama on ice. Okay, and we got Christy Yamaguchi. And then if you scroll in, it's goddamn Tanya Harding, man.
Yep, there she is.
Oh, I love that.
She's throwing gang signs. She's looking all like step.
Yeah, okay, and now I found the Daughters of Privilege ad. That was Dick Van Dyke when he was in his like veterinarian TV show era. That
Well, it's like Cesar Romero here.
Yeah. I don't like any of this. I don't like how many times they put daddy in there.
Yeah. It's creepy.
Yeah. I don't want...
You know what's even creepier, though? On the next page, Ricky Schroeder with a weird mustache and a mouthful of chew.
Next to Willfred Brimley?
Yep.
He wants to get out alive. He needs to keep him alive. Blood River. That was written by John Carpenter. I thought
That's the weirdest part. That's the weirdest part of that.
Really, really weird.
I wonder if John Carpenter wrote that script and then he gets in and he's like, when I wrote Blood River, there was no way I envisioned Ricky Schroeder with a weird pedo mustache and Willfred Brimley starring in it.
Well, he wrote a movie about a river of blood being a portal to hell, and then look what the execs did with it.
Yeah, they turned it into a cowboy movie.
Yeah.
Most uneasy partnerships are about to turn deadly. I want that tagline on every movie poster. An uneasy partnership is about to turn deadly. Like, it would pretty much work.
I want to use that line to describe my comedy to people when they ask me what kind of jokks I do.
It's an uneasy partnership. It's about to turn deadly.
It's about to turn deadly. Yeah, that's. I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah, I think that would work.
Yeah.
Let's do Monday. Anything jump out to you?
Monday, anything triggering any childhood memories for me to share to a complete stranger on a podcast?
Of course,
Let's find out.
You've just summarized my entire decade.
Well, we got some Ninja Turtles happening.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm okay.
Who's your favorite turtle of the four?
Well, when I was a child, it was Leonardo, but now I've come to appreciate Raphael.
Okay.
It's like as a kid, I think I was looking for structure and leadership, and now I just don't care anymore. So I'm just, full Raphael. I'm like, whatever.
Go with the hothead.
Eat some pizza and be snarky. And nihilistic. Let's see. Let's go to when I come home from school. So like around 5 o'clock. Reading Rainbow! Oh my god.
Yeah, a classic.
Oh, classic. I had watched that over Highway to Heaven.
Oh yeah. I mean, any sane person would.
They got a lot of Who's the Boss on different channels. So if you did, I've got Who's the Boss and The Cosby Show on WOR, but then they're also on Channel 7. Up against the Golden Girls? What the fuck? How do you even make a choice? Oh, we got Murphy.
That's a coin flip.
We got Murphy, Brown, and Designing Women in the same hour. Those were staples of mine for sure.
There's a show on the Disney Channel that really popped out to me. It's a cartoon, and this show title is like someone forgot to do their homework.
The Woman Who Raised a Bear?
Yeah, it's called The Woman Who Raised a Bear as Her Son. That's the name of the cartoon. Why did they couldn't come up with a better name for the cartoon than A Woman Who Raised a Bear as Her Son?
I wish I was that lady.
Like even like My Son the Bear, or like
My Son the Bear.
Bear Family, or like Orphan Bear, or whatever. Woman Who Raised a Bear as Her Son. That's the name.
I want to know what that's like to raise a bear as your son.
Yeah. Or raise your son as a bear. That'd be more difficult.
It reminds me of like a myth behind a constellation.
Maybe that's what it is. It's actually the story of Ursa Minor, Ursa Major.
Yeah,
and the person couldn't remember what the constllations were called. So they were like, make a show about the woman who raised her son as a bear.
I'm going to keep bringing it up because it was such a fantastic trip. But when I went to Moab a couple of weeks ago, it's like one of the best stargazing places on the world because of the fact that it's cold, it's arid, and there's low light pollution. So that's all the stuff I learned while I was stargazing. I went to like the state park at like 8 at night, and the meteorological conditions were perfect because there was no moon that night. And so they give like a lecture about like the stars you're going to watch. And I don't give a shit about Greek myths. I think they're so annoying. And all this lady was talking about was like the Greek myths behind why a star grouping was named whatever the star grouping is, which is also so arbitrary. You're showing me like stars that are like salt thrown on a black table, and then you just connect a line around it. You're like, that's a bear. And then you're like,
sure it is if you draw a bear on top of it.
Yeah. And then you're like, this is called Ursa because Zeus was mad at his wife and then he put her in a box for 2,000 years, and then she became pregnant with a bear. And like, that's what this lady was telling all of us. And I'm like, just shut up. I want to get a sense of the universe.
Yeah, like, hey, tell us about stars and stuff, which is actually way more interesting than some weird made-up stories about whatever you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna go hard on this, okay? I think Greek mythology is fucking stupid, and I hate having dreams.
Okay, are those two things related in any way?
They're just things that I know I sound like an asshole if I say it out loud.
No, you're taking a stance, and I respect that.
Yeah, I feel like Bill Burr, though. I'm like, I'm going to say something that no one will agree with, and then by the end, you'll be on my side. It just feels so edgelord.
I don't know if edgelords have ever taken those two particular topics on.
Yeah, they're really, like, I mean, okay, I'm a very sensitive person, so maybe, maybe I'm not coming off as strong as I feel inside. But I don't like having dreams. I think they're annoying. Because, like, I had a dream recently that was about how, okay, I quit smoking weed for a little while. And then when I quit smoking weed, all of my dreams came back super vivid. And I'd wake up in the morning feeling guilt and shame and subconscious pain from, like, trying to do problem solving. But it's not like you're solving any problems while you're dreaming. You're just chattering to yourself, and then you wake up and you feel gross. And I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I don't need it. Like,
have you tried to stop?
Well, yeah, I started smoking weed again.
I didn't know that was a dream suppressant.
Yeah, it totally is. For me, it definitely is. And I think there's science to back it up. Because, I don't know, I'm not going to quote it right now because I'm dumb. But I
mean, I know it's a motivation suppressant. Are dreams and motivation the same thing?
Oh my God. Well, yeah, they totally are. I mean, when you're
follow your dreams.
When you're being romantic about it, they totally are. Yeah.
Well, now this makes sense. Well,
I'm really going to do great in New York with an attitude like this.
No, you probably will, to be honest with you. Speaking of dreams, there's a after school special on Tuesday.
Good.
And it's called Frog Girl.
Oh, Frog Girl. Well, sign me up.
She never disobeyed the rules until now. She didn't want to kill a frog, so she fought the school system. She went to court, and she did what no teenager had done before. She won. Frog Girl, the Jennifer Graham story, based on a true story.
Dude, I love it. Don't ever let them stop you, Frog Girl. I wonder what she's up to.
I know. I need to find Jennifer Graham. Did you have to dissect a frog in high school?
Nah, I dropped out of high school like on the first day.
Because of the frog?
No, because of apathy, but...
You didn't want to dissect apathy. I get it.
Well, I don't even want to have dreams, so...
I know, it's true. Yeah, that's... The funny thing is, wanting to not have dreams is incredibly aspirational.
I'd like to think of it as being sort of, enlightened, because it's like dreams are a form of want, and want is a form of suffering. So I'm post-dream.
But where does the show The Party Machine with Nia Peoples fit into that philosophy?
Gosh, that's the most important question of our times.
Because it just popped up when I was scrolling, and I can't think of a better show name than The Party Machine.
The Party Machine. It sounds like a what's his fucking name? The goddamn shirtless comic who sells out stadiums.
Oh, Bert Kreischer?
Bert Kreischer, yeah. Sounds like a Bert Kreischer album.
Bert Kreischer's Party Machine with Nia Peoples.
Yeah. I'm looking through like Tuesday, and we got Yo MTV Raps. We got Francesca's Baby, where a teenager and her sister learn to cope with their mother's alcoholism.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Maybe they should have shown that to my dad. DuckTales.
Woo.
Man, you had to choose between DuckTales and Gummie Bears, though. That's not fair.
Which one of those has a better theme song? That's how I would pick.
Well, DuckTales is a classic. It's a banger for the ages.
But what about Dashing and Daring, Courageous and Caring?
What happens after that line, though?
Everywhere.
Oh, okay. You know the whole thing. I kind of had a crush on that soft butch bear with the yellow hair and the green jacket.
Oh, Tummy Bear or whatever his name is.
Yeah, she was kind of hot. No, she was a girl.
Summer. So her name was like Summer or something like that.
Yeah. That's probably I figured this is actually when I knew I was gay. Well, I'm bisexual, but like I had a crush on April O'Neil. I had a crush on that bear.
Well, you're gay for cartoons.
Yeah, cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a crush on Rogue from the X-Men.
We are. Yeah, you've listed my crushes as well.
Oh, good, including the bear. What about Robin Hood the fox?
So here's the thing. I thought that Summer Bear, whatever her name was, on Gummie Bears reminded me of Christine from Night Court. They were kind of the same.
Ooh,
they're pretty
same
much the
flavor. Same flavor in that corn chip bag.
Yeah. I never really got the Robin Hood thing though.
Oh, he was so hot because he was mischievous.
Well, women love an archer. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, they sure do. Not a real one, but in theory.
Yeah. I mean, how else would William Tell have convinced his wife to do the apple thing?
Because he had a big old dick.
That's right. And he used to shoot it at her.
Yeah.
It wasn't attached.
It was a detachable penis?
Yes. And he could fire it up to 400 yards.
God, now I'm trying to remember the name of that band. Did you...
King Missile.
Yes! You know everything! Can I text you when something's on the tip of my tongue and I decide that texting you is better than Googling?
Absolutely. You would not be the first.
Okay.
I used to joke on stage that my two favorite inventions of the 21st century are Google and Uber, because both of them mean I get a lot fewer phone calls.
Oh, that's funny. Are you sober? Do you not drink? And that's why people...
I've never drank in my life. Yeah. All my friends knew that I had chronic insomnia and didn't drink. And had a license. So I used to get a lot of phone calls.
And you're in Boston.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I would literally have people call me and be like, "Can you come pick me up?" And I'm like, "Where are you?" And they'd be like, "I'm at a bar. Bye." And I'm like, that doesn't narrow it down. No.
Do you want to know the most iconic 1991 lineup you could ever have on Arsenio Hall?
Yes.
Singer Robert Palmer, magician David Copperfield.
Two men who love women.
Two men who I would get confused about them being the same person.
Well, I would confuse David Copperfield for Bob Saget. They look exactly alike.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I love looking at like who is on talk shows back in the day too. That's fun to look as we scroll through.
Oh yeah. And people forget how massive the Arsenio Hall show was. Like he kind of isn't really a thing anymore and like doesn't come up very much. But that
He's the reason Bill Clinton became president. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
And I've gone back and rewatched that show, and it's real bad.
Well,
like, he's a terrible host.
Oh, is he? Does he just interrupt people to make dog noises?
Sort of, but he does this thing where I can't tell if he's doing it as a bit, but he is really unconvincing in being interested in what they're saying. Oh. So they'll say something and he goes,
yeah,
like that kind of thing. And it's bad.
Yeah. Well, you know what else is bad is that every single Phil Donohue episode is about sexual addiction. He was really trying to work something out.
He was, or he was trying to meet people.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, are you addicted to shriveled dick?"
Well, he was married to Marlo Thomas forever.
Oh, what did she do? Was she like an
she was on
hero?
No, she was That Girl on the show That Girl. And Danny Thomas's daughter, Danny Thomas, who was the highest paid actor in television for decades.
But she was like a very baby.
Yeah, and so she was like sort of Mary Tyler Moore a couple of years before Mary Tyler Moore. And then she started a couple of different children's charities in the 70s, and she had this singing group called Free to Be You and Me that was like kids singing songs about how it's okay to be different and like that it's okay to have a body. And now she's a spokesperson for St. Jude still. She's about 80 something years old.
Oh, I thought I would have thought she was like Wonder Woman or something. I would have gotten her confused with Linda Carter.
No one is as good as Linda Carter.
Okay, well you're I figured out what turned you on as a kid.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm only human.
Yeah.
There's no way Phil Donohue could have gotten Linda Carter.
Can we talk about how scared I was back in 1991 during the Wednesday evening primetime lineup?
Why were you scared?
Because we started with Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh, yeah.
And then we ended with Quantum Leap. Are you fucking kidding me? That show.
Quantum Leap was scary?
Yeah. The Halloween episodes. Oh my God. Those were so scary. And then like, you know, you're 11 years old and your dad's an alcoholic, even though you showed him that movie, Francesca's Daughter.
Yeah, you tried.
What does being alive mean really anyway? Let's watch Quantum Leap. Oh God, I can be anybody. What an existential crisis.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that show would I think it was supposed to be hopeful, but really just serve to show you that everything is pointless.
Yeah, well, it's like Unsolved Mysteries unlocked my ego by showing me how terrifying everyday occurrences are.
Yeah.
And then Quantum Leap made me not know if people were real.
Right. Is this all a simulation? It was pre the Matrix. Quantum Leap was sort of giving you the same kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's the show Wings, the sitcom, and then Discovery Channel has a show called Wings that's about airplanes.
That's
and they're
so
on
autistic.
at the same time.
Oh, that made so many autistic people confused.
I bet. In this particular episode of Wings, the airplane show says, "A look at unusually small planes."
Like smaller than the person who's going to ride in it?
I don't know what would be unusually small. Maybe, yeah, like you can't fit anyone in it.
A drone is an unusually small plane.
I think any plane smaller than a plane is an unusually small plane.
Anything smaller than like a paper airplane is a regular size plane for what it is.
Yeah, so like a paper airplane wouldn't be unusually small. That would be correct size.
But a Post-it note airplane, now that would be unusually small.
A Post-it note airplane would be an unusually small paper airplane. Do kids make paper airplanes anymore?
I don't think kids are real.
I bet you that I bet there's an app on the App Store that's like virtual paper airplanes, and you like fold it by like on the screen and then see how far it would fly.
Oh, that's depressing.
I bet that exists. I'm not going to look, but I bet that exists.
Yeah. Well, if not, you should make an app for that.
And I'll be so wealthy from that free app.
You'll find free people who are into it.
That's right.
Wow, do you want to watch Highway to Heaven? Because
never.
This week, a dying woman wants to see the sun she was forced to leave in the Soviet Union during World War II.
Let me tell you something. That's just not this week. That's pretty much every week on that show.
Okay.
Just swap out the country.
Uh-oh. Oh, my God. Guess what happened on Alf?
Did he meet a woman who was dying, who was forced to abandon her child in the Soviet Union?
That's next week. Alf pleads for a second chance after being banished to the garage for conduct unbecoming to an alien.
Oh, no. What would that even be?
Cat eating.
That's, again, like the unusually small plane. Like, what's conduct unbecoming to an alien? Like, how do we even know that?
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, what is an alien versus a UFO? Anything that's in the sky that you don't know is a UFO.
Yeah, if you're dumb enough, everything's a UFO.
Yeah.
Just because you can't identify it doesn't mean that it's alien.
That's a pretty cool way to live your life, though.
I know. It's like, that's a bird.
That'd be fucking rad. I want to be stupid.
I'm kind of a UFO hunter. By that, I mean I don't understand things in the sky.
Let's start drinking again.
Drinking or head injuries. Either way.
Either way, I'm not
Get you the
thinking
same
anymore.
place.
Either way.
No. Say goodbye to dreams.
Oh, boy.
So there's a movie here on Thursday night on TBS from 1979. It's a made-for-TV movie. And it's called, I'm just going to give you the title. You tell me what you think it's about, and then I'll tell you what it's actually about.
Oh, I love this game.
It's called The Cracker Factory.
Okay. Well, for some reason, the first thing that popped into my head was Vicki Lawrence. Is she in this?
That's a good guess. No, Natalie Wood is in it.
They're not making white people. They don't need a factory for that.
That's true.
I guess she's just a working girl who decided one day to move out to the big city and get a job, and she's working at a cracker factory, and that chubby redheaded chick neighbor from Small Wonders is in it.
Mrs. Poole?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, so it's the Cracker Factory. They give it 3 stars, made for TV 1979. A glib housewife played by Natalie Wood. So you might be right so far.
Okay.
But here's where you're wrong. Suffering from alcoholism is institutionalized after attempting suicide. The Cracker Factory.
Wait, does that mean Vicki Lawrence isn't in it?
I would watch a remake of that starring Vicki Lawrence, but I am unaware of her being in the Cracker Factory.
Wow.
Why is it called the Cracker Factory?
I have no idea. That's so confusing.
Is that like a 70s name for a mental institution?
You know what I think is that there's some memory that she has of abandonment inside a Cracker Factory, and then she like has to come to terms with that about 3/4 into the movie.
Like on a school field trip or something to a Cracker Factory?
Like there was a book I read called The Language of Goldfish, and it was about a girl with a psychotic break, you know, and it was like when you were 11 and you're reading about psychotic breaks because your dad's an alcoholic and you wouldn't pay attention to the movie Francesca's Baby. I'm just trying to come off as unhinged. I'm not actually unhinged. Anyway, like, and that book was about this one girl, like, having her core memory being trying to learn how goldfish talk. And so that's why they call the book The Language of Goldfish. And you don't understand why it's called The Language of Goldfish until like the last chapter, and then you're like, they could have just called this, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I don't know.
Right, or learning things that aren't real.
Yeah, learning when you're schizophrenic.
Also, shouldn't it be called the Cractory?
Oh, boy.
If you're trying to save time.
Yeah, we're very busy people. We gotta save time.
Final night of the week on Friday, we're approaching Easter, so there's a lot of Easter content here.
Good.
Nobody enjoys Easter content. Like Easter specials?
I don't know, man. Like the Charlton Heston movie. What is it?
The Ten Commandments?
Ever? Yeah. One time I watched that really stoned. It was like one of the first times I got stoned. And there's totally a nipple in that. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the Bible. There's tons of nipples in the Bible. There's tons of
nipples in it. And I was just like, wow.
A friend of mine told me
Rogue from X-Men was here.
A friend of mine told me a story that when she moved to LA, she was dating some guy whose like dad was one of the heads of the studios. So she got invited to a New Year's Eve party at Charlton Heston's house, and she was like, "Oh my God, this is going to be crazy! Like this is Hollywood. This is amazing."
Cocaine
and so they get
guns.
there. Yeah, and Charlton Heston comes in, and he has like a theater in his house, and so he gets everyone in the screening room, and he puts on the 10 Commandments, and then he just left, and that was the whole party.
Wow. Well, he's like playing the hits.
Yeah, he's like, I don't even need to be here. I'm on screen. I'm gonna go take a nap.
I feel bad because that shows a lack of confidence for his later work.
On Charlton Heston? Oh, instead of showing them the Omega Man, or
I feel like he's struggling with self-esteem by pulling a move like that.
I guess once you play Moses, it's hard to find a role that, you know, would be more iconic.
Yeah. Well, the same thing happened to, what's his name? The guy that landed on the moon.
Neil Armstrong?
Neil Armstrong, yeah. I wanted to say Neil Cassidy, but I knew that wasn't right. But Neil Armstrong couldn't achieve anything greater than landing on the moon. You know, like, what do you do after you land on the moon?
But did he try?
Yeah, he sunk into a major depression, and he was a real dickhead for a long time. And I guess he, like, came up with some engineering stuff here and there. But truly, he was like, what's the point of life? I landed on the moon.
But wouldn't you go, see, I'd go the other way with, like, anytime anyone said anything, I'd be like, that's cool, I landed on the moon, go fuck yourself.
Well, he probably did that, too.
And then it got old.
Yeah, well,
for him.
He had, like, 5 divorces.
Maybe he stopped dreaming after he landed on the moon because there was nothing left. And imagine what the oxygen issues are if Denver's bad.
Well, I hear that's why they have helmets. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he was up there in a cocktail dress.
Yeah. Oh, wow. You're really doing every callback you can right now.
I got them all. I got them all.
Okay. Well, thank you, Nancy Kerrigan.
People always confuse us. It happens frequently.
Because you're real leggy.
And I often have skates in a
And a
fancy dress.
shattered ankle.
Jeff Kaluli's constantly hitting me.
It's a new kink.
Although, fun fact, Jeff Kaluli refused to dissect a frog.
Whoa. Way to stand up for frogs, Jeff.
I didn't want to dissect a frog. They made us do it.
Did you?
When we took the organs out, you had to tape them to a piece of paper.
Oh.
And like write what they were. And you handed in a piece of paper with like organs taped on it.
That's upsetting. Gross.
It seems like a ransom note. Yeah. It's pretty
Yeah.
gross.
That poor frog. All he was doing.
That sounds like a teacher who's just weird.
Yeah. Maybe they were like, hey, why don't they just draw a picture of a frog?
Yeah. We would know it would be the same thing. Like, I don't need to.
Yeah, it'd just be a lot less visceral.
Like if someone was like, hey, what part of the frog is that? And I'm like, it's the liver. And he's like, yeah, prove it. And I go, what? How? He goes, rip it out and tape it on a piece of paper. I don't think you know what it is.
Like, why do we have to take it out of the frog to just acknowledge that a liver is there?
Otherwise, how do you prove it? You can't.
It's like that teacher doesn't have object permanence.
He might not. He might not. And he keeps all these papers, like 30 years worth of.
Yeah, he's like, does that frog still have a liver? Let me check this paper.
Well, maybe a frog killed his family and he spent the rest of his life just trying to get back at those frogs.
This sounds like a real case for fish cops.
That's true. The fish police could solve this. Well, Andie, I have had quite a lot of fun in this chat here.
Have
it's been
you?
a pleasure to meet your dog. I have.
Here's
The
her
dog's
tail.
coming with you. She's coming with you, I presume, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave her with a neighbor for a couple months while I get my shit together, and then I'm going to send for her like an immigrant from the 1900s.
Send to the old country.
Yeah.
Never sent over.
I'm
Well,
like,
Brooklyn is very, very dog friendly.
My dearest Sadie, the time has arrived for you to pack your wardrobe and arrive.
She comes with a steamer trunk.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, there's just like one sad photo of her not smiling, and that's all we
with
ever
big
knew
hat
of her
on.
existence.
Well, it's been so nice talking to you. Thank you for doing this. Good luck with your trip. And,
Thank you.
Make it up to Boston. Let me know.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll be in Boston for sure. That'll be fun.
There you go. That's Andie. Rocky Mountain Bye. Get it now. If you'll love it. I think if you enjoyed how fun that conversation was, you will love her album. And maybe buy it. Be helpful for her. Anyway, I'll be here next week. I hope you will too for a brand new edition of TV Guidance Counselor.
We didn't come here to talk cigarettes.